I want you to leave from this experience in the Mahdi method. I want you to feel like you stole from me, bruv. I want you to feel like you held me at gunpoint and robbed me. That's how I want you to feel. So I'm gonna do my best, okay, to give you, because I got too many gems to give you. So I have to give them to you in the right order and at the right time. And if there's one thing I want to give you first, that is there's very famous Hadith Qudusi. Hadith Qudusi is something that Allah said, but it wasn't recorded in the Quran. Okay, it was recorded. The Prophet ﷺ told us that Allah said it. So Allah conveyed it to the Prophet ﷺ, but it's not in the Quran. And that is, Ana kadhanni abdi. I am as my slave thinks of me. I watched an interview with what's his name? Cat Williams, the comedian. Cat Williams, I think his name is. And Shannon Shea. It's blew up. You've probably seen it. It's all over the internet. It's got 49 million views in under 2 weeks. Okay. One of the biggest podcasts of all time. And he said something very interesting in there. And I clocked it. And I've heard the likes of Tate and whatnot say it before, but the way they said it, it had an underlying tone of arrogance. But he said it differently and it hit me differently.
Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. You can't beat the best. And until you humble yourself, you will forever be kinged by the king. When I wake up in the morning, no matter where I am, I don't need nothing. Because I'm favored by God, all I gotta do is want it, and it belongs to me. I don't wanna look at nothing I don't wanna have. Because I know how blessed I am. If I look at it, I got it.
And he said, I'm favored by God. But he didn't just say it like that. He said, I never look at another man's wife. And the host, Shannon Shea, said to him, like, okay, well, why are you saying that for? He said, I'm favored by God. If I look at another man's wife, she's going to want me. He's like, how do you know? What makes you say that? He said, because God has always given me what I've asked for and what I wanted. And I deeped what he was saying differently because it wasn't one of those, I'm God's favorite, ha ha ha, look at me, look at my cars, look at my yacht, look at my whatever. It was like the sky is blue, the grass is green, and I'm favored by God, and he gives me whatever I want. And therefore, I can't look at certain things like another man's wife, because if I do, she will want me. He wasn't boasting. He was reporting the news. Big difference. He wasn't boasting. He was reporting the news like a weatherman. Literally, objective fact. And it hit me different. And I realized, subhanallah, when Allah says, Ana kadhanni abdi, I am as my slave thinks of me. Guess what, gentlemen? This is not exclusive for the Muslim. Allah didn't say, I am as my believing slave thinks of me. Because whether you believe in Allah or not, you are his slave. Like it or hate it. You are his slave. But he said, I am as my slave thinks of me, even the one who doesn't believe in him. But he believes in God, in the higher power, in the universe, whatever. And it sounds woo-woo-wee-wee until you deep this hadith Qudusi. I am as my slave thinks of me. And what's the continuation of the hadith? I'll read it to you. I am just as my slave thinks I am, i.e., I am able to do for him what he thinks I can do for him. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you a question. If you agree with me that it does not add or diminish from the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether he were to give you the world or not, if he gave you the world and everything that is inside it, would it increase or diminish the majesty of your Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala? No. Which means what? It means nothing to him. It's less than the wing of a fly, as you know from the other hadith. It's less in worth than the wing of a fly because of the long story of the fly who lost its wing in the nose of Qarun. And when they chopped Qarun's head open, he lost his wing and Allah offered him, I give you the world and everything inside it or your wing. Which will you take? He said, but if I don't have my wing, I won't be able to fly. The wing chose his fly. And that's when Allah said, the world and everything that is inside it is not even worth the wing of a fly. Okay? Al-Muhim, if you agree with me that it does not diminish from Allah's majesty, which it does not, then it means nothing to your Lord to give it to you. So why not ask, this is how I walk around. Uqsim billah, this is how I walk around. Yeah? I walk around, wallahi, expecting good from Allah. You know why? Because he doesn't want to let me down. You know how I know? Because ana kadhanni abdi. I am as my slave thinks I am. If he thinks I'll be good for him, I'll be good for him. And if it's just a case of a thought process, then why not think, sounds woo-woo-wee-wee, but it's not. Why not think positively of your Lord? Wallahi, even when something bad happens to me, I say to myself, behind the veil of this bad thing, there is something great. This happened to me just a couple of weeks ago, actually. Something that on the apparent is a disaster. But actually, it spurred me into action, into making arrangements elsewhere, and it turned out to be a major blessing. Now I walk around with this permanent frame, and that permanent frame is I'm expecting good wherever I go. And even if something apparently bad happens to me, I know it's good because it doesn't, expecting good from your Lord doesn't mean good things will happen to you all the time. Okay, I'll give you another ayah from Surah Yusuf. Allah says in the Quran, when Yusuf relayed his dream, the dream that he had as a child to his father Yaqub, Prophet Yusuf, and he saw the sun, the moon, and the stars all prostrating to him. Yaqub said to him, كذلك يجتبيك ربك. His father Yaqub, Prophet Yaqub said to him, كذلك يجتبيك ربك ويعلمك من تأويل الأحاديث. This is how your Lord will bring you closer to him. ويعلمك من تأويل الأحاديث. And he's going to teach you the understanding of speech. That's not just interpretation of dreams. That is, you will become a master of understanding not just what people say, but what they actually mean. You see how we talk about what women are actually mean? Like in this space here? No, but Yusuf had the gift for all people. وَيُعَلِّمُكَ مِن تَأْوِيلِ الْأَحَادِيثِ وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْهِ. So how was Yusuf taught the ta'wil al-ahadith, the understanding of speech? How was he taught it? He was taught it through being tested. How was he tested? First, his brothers threw him in the well, and then he was picked up by the caravan, and then he was taken as a slave into the house of the Aziz. Who's the Aziz? The big politician of the time. So now he had intimate experience to what? To how politicians talk and think when the cameras are off. Obviously, there were no cameras back then, but when they're not in the public eye, how do they actually talk? How do the bourgeoisie women, the upper class women, how do they talk and think? When nobody's around, he had access to those women as well. But not just that, he was a servant. So he lived with the servants in the servant quarters. So now he had access to how do the servants talk and how do the servants think and what's their life experience. But not just that, he had access to what? He was responsible for going to the marketplace and picking up the fish and the vegetables and whatever else. So now he had access to what? To that world. How do merchants think? How do fishmongers think and talk? What's their world? And then what happened after that? He was accused of a crime he never committed, of trying to rape the wife of the Aziz, which of course he didn't. And then what happened to him? He was imprisoned. What happened because of that? He learned how prisoners think. He had intimate experience into the life and thinkings and world of the prisoner. And through all of these different experiences, Allah وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ, and he's going to complete his favor upon you and the family of Yaqub. Yaqub is addressing himself. Allah completed his favor upon him by testing him, my friend. If he had not been tested in this way, if he was not thrown into the well and then taken as a slave in the house of the Aziz and then imprisoned, falsely imprisoned for many years, بضع سنين, between 3 and 7 years, falsely imprisoned. If he had not been through all of these different experiences, he would never have learned ta'wil al-ahadith, the understanding of all speech. It was through those trials that Allah completed his favor upon him. You are being trialed. You looking at me, you bro, you're being trialed right now yourself. Glad tidings. Allah is completing his favor upon you, because without this trial, you are not going to be able to reap the benefit, the skill, the lesson, the hikmah, the wisdom, the understanding that he wants you to have. Because if he didn't care about you, he'd just let you go like a dog on a leash. Go. نمتعهم قليلا ثم نضطرهم إلى عذاب النار. We'll let them go for a little bit, then we will cast them into the hellfire. Be scared for yourself if life is just going gravy and you're violating your Lord left, right, and center. You should be terrified, because it means that Allah, just as He gives us the ability to earn our place in Jannah, He gives us the ability to earn our place in the hellfire as well. Of course. And that's why sometimes you see some guy, he's just getting away with so many violations. He's killing, he's murdering, he's poisoning, he's stealing, and his life looks amazing. Habibi, you don't understand. Allah is allowing him to earn his place in the hellfire, just as you must earn your place in Jannah. It's the same. Both must be earned. But the first one that I just mentioned, earning your place in the hellfire, this is a terrifying. So just remember, when you're being tested, this is how Allah is completing his favor upon you. Yes. And you might not be able to see it now, but just remember that. Weeks, months, years, maybe even decades from now, you will thank him. The only thing you have to do in this moment is to remember the following hadith, where the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الصَّبْرُ عِنْدَ الصَّدْمَةِ الْأُولَى. Verily, the definition of patience, what the real patience, in the صَدْمَةِ الْأُولَى, is at the first strike. It's no good being patient 5 years later. That's not patience. Anyone can look back 5 years later and be like, oh, you know what? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. No, real boy, that's not patience. Patience is somebody close to you dies, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun, straight away at the first strike. Patience is you lost thousands of pounds in a sour business deal, or your business partner stole from you, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun, at once and immediately. إنما الصبر عند الصدمة الأولى. It's just like
This video you're watching is a clip from one of the weekly coaching calls inside the Mahdi method, where a whole bunch of brothers have already gotten married after implementing the simple system I teach inside. Hit the link in the description to find out more.